A lot of the tribulation and stress and trials that come into our life are a result of the passions we carry in our fallen body, the passions for pleasure. A lot of the tribulation and stress and trials are the result of the lust of the eyes, the desire for more, the desire for covetousness, the desire to not be content and grateful and thankful to God for what He's already provided in our life. This is a lot of the source of the tribulation and the stress and the anguish and the trials that oftentimes we face in our life. It's the result of the lust of the flesh. It's a result of the lust of the eyes. It's a result of the pride of life, of defensiveness and seeking self-importance and seeking self-promotion. A lot of the trials and stress and tribulations are a result of these things as defined as the world. And Jesus says to this in John 16:33, "These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." So Cheer for the Year is based on the fact that Jesus' finished work has already overcome the world. Jesus' finished work has already overcome what you're facing today, what you're facing tomorrow. What God has done through Jesus Christ has once and for all humanity, made provision for what we're facing. And that's what Jesus says, you can have cheer throughout the year. Because the good cheer is not based on what you're facing. It's not based on your ability. It's not based on what you can do. Jesus today says you can have good cheer because it's based on what I've already done. And I have overcome the world. I've overcome the world. Notice He says, in the world you will have tribulation. See, your tribulation, your stress, your trials will increase to the level that you seek to find cheer in the world. I'm going to say it again. Your tribulation, your stress will increase to the level you seek to find cheer in the world. If you think your joy, if you think happiness, if you think this idea of biblical cheer can be found by the world, by the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, to the level you seek to find fulfillment, you seek to find joy, you seek to find cheer in the world, will be to the level that stress and tribulation will increase in your life. That's why Jesus says, in the world there's tribulation and stress. But notice He offers an alternative today. Jesus offers an alternative to all of humanity. He says, yes, in the world, tribulation and stress will come, but I offer you another way to live, another way to experience a different type of living. He says, in me. In me. Notice He says, in me you may have peace. See, your cheer and your peace will increase to the level you seek to find cheer in Jesus. Notice that. Jesus says, listen, if you're seeking to find these things in the world, tribulation and stress will increase. But I offer you another way. When you're facing a trial, when you're facing a decision, when you're facing a crossroad, when you're facing relational issues, instead of looking to the world to find what you need and find cheer, look in me, and in me you'll find peace and you'll find cheer that will continue even in the midst of what you're facing. Jesus is saying this, stay close to me and you're staying close to your peace. Stay close to me and you're staying close to your joy. See, Jesus is God's gift of victory to you. Jesus is God's gift of victory over the world. Jesus is God's gift of victory over each of these. Jesus is the gift of victory over the lust of the flesh, the passions for more pleasure. Jesus is the gift of victory over the lust of eyes, over the desire for more and covetousness. Jesus is the gift of victory over the pride of life. Notice this verse in 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 57. The Apostle Paul says, but thanks be to God. Now he's coming out of a statement where he's just talked about the effects of sin. He's been talking about the devastation of death and the results of sin upon the earth. And out of that context of all the negativity, all the tribulation, all the difficulties in the world, he says in 1 Corinthians 15:57, but thanks be to God. That's what I feel like doing this morning. That even in the midst of tribulation, even in the midst of difficulties, even in the midst of stress, that we can say what Paul said, but thanks be to God, because there is another way. There is another source. There is an alternate provision, that my happiness and my peace and my joy does not have to be based on what's happening in my life. It can be based on what Jesus Christ has already done for me, done for you, and done for us.